mechanisms, certain pull out certain keys, and then go back into the scriptures and then wrap it up. Okay.
We'll look something up here. Let's see here. Monsanto. Okay. I gotta type something up here. Give me a second. Oh. Okay. I send it. Just email this to my good friend, the teleprompter over there, and voila. All right. Just let's see now. Dustin. Hey, Dustin. Yeah. Can we get Alex Jones on for tonight? Can we do that? Can we get it? All right. Yeah. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a John Rizzo and Adam versus the Man LLC production. The history of Monsanto. Monsanto is a beast with a trail of blood and crony capitalism in its wake. Famous for strong-arm tactics, crooked litigation, and bullying, Monsanto was founded in 1901 as a chemical company, but with time their influences reached deep into agriculture and food production. Their first product was the artificial sweetener saccharin, which it sold to Coca-Cola. By 1919, its tentacles had already reached big agricultural operations in Europe, and by World War II, it had become a major industrial player. Monsanto was also involved in operating the Dayton Project site and Mound Laboratories for the Manhattan Project, which was responsible for the atom bomb. Monsanto has had a number of extremely successful products, some of which have included carcinogen-linked artificial sweeteners like saccharin and aspartame. There was, of course, DDT, growth hormones like RBGH, and numerous herbicides like Roundup. Monsanto also gave us Agent Orange, which was used extensively as what they called a defoliant to clear jungles by the U.S. military during Vietnam. It was responsible for the deaths of 400,000 Vietnamese and caused 500,000 Vietnamese children to be born with birth defects. Just for fun, let's show you what it did to one Vietnamese soldier who survived exposure. And in case you were wondering about the severity of the birth defects we're talking about here, so it should come as no surprise that exposure to U.S. service members also caused a wave of cancer and miscarriages as well. Of course, soldiers were told Agent Orange was completely safe, and the Department of Veterans Affairs has denied all but 486 of the 39,419 claims that have been filed due to Agent Orange exposure. In 1982, Monsanto became the first company to successfully genetically modify a plant cell, and in 1987, they began field testing genetically modified crops. Monsanto has repeatedly used patent law to claim ownership over the use of certain seeds, allowing them to control food at the very source. Patented seeds cannot be saved from one crop season to the next, so they have a crop police of bullies who go from farm to farm to ensure there are not violations. Essentially, farmers are being forced into buying new seeds each year. They are now the world's largest dealer of genetically modified seeds. Farmers that don't play along with Monsanto's crop scam have been sued for patent infringement after their fields were contaminated with Monsanto seeds from nearby GMO crop fields. Yeah. Michael Taylor was a Monsanto attorney before being appointed as Deputy Commissioner of the FDA in 1991. While at the FDA, he made crucial decisions that allowed genetically engineered foods to come to market, then returned to Monsanto to become the company's Vice President for Public Policy. One hell of a sweet deal if you're Monsanto. What corporation wouldn't love to send one of their lawyers through one of DC's many revolving doors just long enough to rewrite regulations in their favor? Since his tenure, policy has been to accept genetically modified or enhanced foods without proper testing and without consumer labeling. Put simply, it's in Monsanto's interests to completely destroy organic farming and organic seeds and to create a total monopoly over the food supply. The scary part is, they're pretty far along with it, and this stuff never hits the news. Why? Well, again, too many corporate interests unchecked by the free market and the democratic process. Thanks to news consumers having too much trust in the mainstream media, the stories have been pulled before. One example, a whistleblower journalist at a Fox affiliate in Tampa, Florida, was prevented from releasing a report on Monsanto's corruption and was then fired before winning a wrongful termination lawsuit. Wow. But now, perhaps there's hope that Monsanto's war against real food will come to an impasse. An army of organic farmers, 83 families strong, are taking a stand against the drones of Monsanto in New York City. A lawsuit was filed on March 30th of this year, led by the Organic Seed Growers and Trade Association. It seeks to provide legal protection for Monsanto's frivolous copyright infringement lawsuits. Hopefully, this will mark a win against a behemoth that has far too much power over what goes on the dinner table. One of the most dangerous monopolies possible is nearing a monopoly on the production and control of food. It's for this reason that it's imperative more people are able to shed light on the shady dealings of Monsanto, and more people are made aware of their dangerous past. If we... Oh, Dustin? Yes? Yeah. Oh, we have AJ on the line. Excellent. Yeah. We're ready now. Let's do it. We go to Austin, Texas to check in with friend of our show, Anna vs. the Man, Alex Jones, and host of the Alex Jones Radio Show and Infowars.com. Alex, by request from our viewer, winner of the executive producing contest, John Rizzo, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me. I enjoy watching your show. I was just watching it last night on the local cable system here in Austin.
Wow, we've reached distribution. Awesome. I'm glad to see that we've got that reach now. But let me ask you, Alex, because you're really good at putting things like this in perspective, in the big picture. Why should everyday Americans be at least informed about what Monsanto is and what threat does it pose?
Well, Monsanto is more of a military operation, a conquering army. They've stated that they want to take over the entire biosphere and patent all major forms of life. So they see natural crops, natural foods, as their enemy that need to be taken over via a corporate takeover. And that's why their whole history with the Agent Orange and the Terminator seeds and the bovine hormone, all of it has been so horrific. The aspartame. But there's one area in your great report that you didn't get into, and that's the fact that Monsanto and other big agri companies and other GMO companies gave a record amount of money last year to try to ram through the, quote, Food Safety Act that was designed to shut down small family farms, ranches, and organic food producers. So they're not just infecting the biosphere with their GMO and then suing people who they've contaminated. They're also trying to get government to pass regulations to shut down their competition. So this is a total corporate takeover of the life cycle of the planet. It is something you would expect to be in a Superman comic book being carried out by the Legion of Doom or something.
Well, what's scary is how it's kind of, we've allowed it to creep up on us through Monsanto itself over about 100 years now, and finally people are starting to notice the significance of this. But let me just add, there's something I need you to explain. What is the relationship between Roundup and Roundup-ready crops, like Roundup-ready soybeans, which are now the most dominant distributed seed for soybeans in the United States?
Well, you've got to then spray their chemical on your crops. And then with many of these GMO crops they've produced, it then infects your crops. And even if there's 1% of their genetics in your soybeans or whatever you're growing, they come onto your property, pull samples of it, go test it, and then go show a court that, hey, part of our genetics is in this. Even though you didn't use their seeds without paying them, they infected you. They have convinced the courts to then rule against your farm or your ranch. So it's extremely, extremely diabolical. And it's not just Monsanto. A lot of these other big GMO companies are coming out with crops that grow their own pesticide so that insects won't eat it inside of the corn, inside of the soybeans, inside of other major food crops. And they're saying, oh, it's safe for humans to be eating this pesticide because it's a natural pesticide. Sure, we've increased it 1,000 times in the case of the corn, the BT corn. We've increased the amount of this natural fungal pesticide 1,000 times, so it's okay. And then we wonder why it's connected to all of these different types of health problems. And in German studies, it's linked to some of the die-offs of the honeybees. It's just crazy, and it's perfect because it still looks like corn, it still looks like soybeans, it still looks like a regular sugar beet, but it's been fundamentally altered and manipulated. And there are hundreds of GMO companies coming out with thousands of different varieties of pharmacological crops where they actually grow drugs or grow viruses inside of crops that they then extract. And now it's been proven that these big pharmacological GMO companies, not just Monsanto, that their incredibly altered crops are now spreading into other crops, and now they're mixing reptile, fish, insect genes into the crops. I mean, this is beyond Brave New World.
So is the best thing that people can do to fight back against this simply buying organic foods, voting with their dollars, withdrawing their support from this system? Is that really the best viable option right now?
Adam, you're absolutely right. 10 years ago, you couldn't find organic food in most stores. Now, it's been displacing the GMO stuff. So they've gone to the feds and gotten an authorization through the Food and Drug Administration to put an organic seal, a U.S. government seal on it, that it's organic, even if it's 75% non-organic.
So you have to even be that much smarter of a consumer and really digging to the bottom of all this. And I'm sorry, that's all the time we have, Alex, but I know that your show, the Alex Jones Show, Infowars.com, is also a great source for that kind of information. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Showing you, man, this guy's the goddamn devil, man. So, I mean, that's just a little brief history on that, on Monsanto. Under the links or the info column, I'll put this link so you can watch a full documentary on Monsanto and, you know, the things that they do, so you can get a more understanding. Also, I suggest to watch the movie or the documentary called Food Inc. It's another one that shows how these major corporations dictate, alright, the food that we eat or digest here in America, and most of it is, well, I'm talking about most of it, all of it's defiled, either by them splicing, what they call splicing, or genetically modifying, or creating or adding different species to it to make it a stronger type of animal or creature or plant or vegetable or fruit, so-called, alright, that our people, well, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, which are the Israelites, are eating every day, because you won't find, chances are you will not find organic foods, true organic foods, in places where so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans live at. That's rare. The majority of the food, alright, or maybe all the food that you're eating in those grocery stores where our people live at or have access to go and shop at, those foods are genetically modified, alright, from fruits, vegetables, meats, alright, certain fishes, alright, everything, man, because this guy, he wants to destroy you. So I'm gonna read this. Okay, it says Monsanto plans massive biotech experiment in the United States. Alright, this is from Russia TV. Russia Today, U.S. News, published the 15th of March, 2012. So this is about 2 weeks old. Alright, a week or two old. It says the U.S. government has for the first time signed off. So your government signed off on a large-scale experiment involving genetically modified crops, which will lead to biotech big shot Monsanto introducing an engineered corn seed across America from South Dakota to Texas. Now, why is that? If you've been keeping up for the past couple years with all the storms and natural disasters that the Heavenly Father has brought upon the Midwest. Let me get that to prove that, because the Heavenly Father is the one that brought all the storms through the Midwest, that and the droughts and wildfires and all that stuff down from South Dakota, basically where America grows a large majority of their, like, corn, wheat, soybean, things of those natures that the majority of Americans consume on a daily. Those crops were damaged and destroyed by the Heavenly Father bringing storms. Okay,